Why, hello. Let's do some painting today. I got some cheap paint. I got some tools that I'm not going to use. Wait. I'm not going to use that. Yeah, remove it. So this is cheap craft paint. It's Folkart multi-surface acrylic. You don't have to get this paint if you want to do something similar. Just know it's cheap craft paint. That's really the only important part. So you can get this in any brand you happen to like or that's easily available for you to grab. At the point of this series of the alien landscapes is just make a cool thing. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. You don't have to use expensive supplies to make a cool thing. You know, you can tell a story very cheaply. The bar for entry for art is very low, I promise. The only thing you have to do is to put in the time and learn how to do it. And I'm sorry to tell you, there's not really any shortcuts. You just gotta do it. You gotta put in the time, and you just gotta do it. So, do it, please. You don't have to paint along with me. You can just watch and have a good time with the story, and I don't know, just hang out for a while. But what we're doing today is a very misty kind of landscape, and look at this come through it. A lot of these colors make me think of very, very, very early morning, just as the color is starting to come into the sky. You get a lot of these lavenders and blues. The time of the morning where perception feels kind of like a bruise. You're waiting for it to heal and wake up and become whole again. At least that's what early morning feels like to me. But, I'm a little outside of what the normal narrative is. It's where I exist. It is what it is. So what I'm doing here is cleaning up the edges because I get paint everywhere. I can't seem to help it. Everything gets covered in paint, which is why I have a poster board down that the black background is a poster board, and why I have just everything is covered because otherwise everything's gonna get speckled with paint. You can already see the paint just on everything. I can't help it. It's how I seem to go through the world, just covered in paint all the time. I've got a dumb little curly head, and I somehow always find speckled, dried bits of paint in my hair. So, since I'm a curly head, I don't wash my hair every day. I wash it as infrequently as possible. It helps everything just stay healthy. So I can end up doing a dozen or so paintings in between washes just because I'm very prolific. Yeah, I'll have no idea what it came from, especially since I can be quite colorful with a lot of the stuff I like. So, I'll have orange, and I can't remember the last orange painting I did, but it's in my hair, and that kind of stuff happens. At least it happens to me. I don't know if it happens to anybody else. But I also have my wrists covered because I've got some eczema issues, and it flares up. My skin does not like hand sanitizer, and hand sanitizer is a little necessary in the world sometimes. I am covering my wrists for your guys' benefit because you don't need to see the nasty, scaly bits of eczema because it's just sometimes I feel a little self-conscious about it. It's a little gross. So here we're starting to add parts of the landscape. We've got some rock formations coming in. Maybe this is a land. See, look how far that horizon is. It's so far that it blends into the sky. Now, I like those kind of backgrounds. They just make you feel like you can see forever. You can see to the end of time. And so we're going to have some rock formations in the front of this never-ending landscape to just kind of, break up the monotony. So one of these alien landscapes is probably going to end up being just the endless, never-ending landscape. I'm sure that will be one of the many options I do because I have every intention of doing endless amounts of these because I love these. I love these very imaginative landscapes where I get to daydream about what walking through another planet would be like. And this one in particular I'd say is chilly. So you have to bundle up quite a bit because all of the blues and the purples, and maybe a lot of that is ice. Maybe it is a lot of very still landscape, but there's a lot of frozen bits of landscape, and maybe these are ice sticking out like ice mountains. I don't know. What do you think this could be? But I'm gonna keep adding bits of sticking up landscape to give interest. What kind of animals would live here? What kind of creatures? Would they be covered in fur like polar bears, Or maybe they'd be covered in blubber, so they'd be round and kind of chubby like seals. Ooh, I'm gonna go with that. These are round creatures that live here. They're a little pudgy and they roll around on the little ice. But maybe they've got like a very thickened skin, so they can actually roll around in a way that wouldn't be too disruptive on this very icy and craggly kind of landscape. Because this is feeling kind of textured. Like, it kind of feels like it would not feel very good to take a tumble down one of these little sculpture-y crest things. I don't think that feel very good. So maybe these creatures have a nice thick skin to be able to, in case something like that happened, And then a very nice round coat of blubber. And if you know anything about seals are kind of dangerous. They got some teeth. They got some teeth. You gotta watch out for seals. Don't approach a seal. If you see one in the wild, don't approach it. Please do not. A lot of y'all out there really suck at risk perception. Like the last time I went to the Smokies, I got stuck in a traffic jam because a couple of dozen idiots got out of their car to try to approach a black bear to take pictures with it. Y'all kid me? Come on now, please. Do yourselves and your genetic line a favor by not getting taken out by doing something stupid, please. Use your brain. Do not approach the fluffy, round creatures. They can be quite dangerous, okay? They look friendly. They look cuddly. They are not cuddly. They live in very hostile environments and are used to defending themselves and living in a way that a lot of humans aren't really prepared for. We've gotten soft. And we need things like clothes and heat and all those sorts of things to survive. In a lot of places, we are not really built well to survive without those sorts of things. We just don't. This is kind of starting to make me think of like pictures of like Venus from like when I was a kid, like, the artist renditions of what they think the different planets might look like. The icy one. That's supposed to be Venus, right? Was the icy planet? I'm getting it mixed up. I gotta go back to third grade science to get a little refresher. But I'd say it's cold here. It never really gets too bright. This bruise-like atmosphere is about as good as it's gonna get for these creatures. So they've probably got either a form of a night vision, where they see really well in darkness, or some sort of echolocation to move around and understand the things around them. Maybe there's not a lot of wind. This feels like a very peaceful kind of place. I'm not seeing a lot of sands and things moving around and that kind of stuff. But, maybe it's just oppressively cold and dark and quiet. So maybe the echolocation would actually be a very good thing for them to use. But, maybe you'd have to be careful with that because it might cause rock falls and avalanches and mudslides and all of that kind of stuff. If you're too loud, the things echo too much. So what do we got so far? We've got round, cuddly looking creatures that are not cuddly and that are moving around in this very dark but quiet landscape. What would the art be like? Because if you couldn't be too loud, you couldn't really have too much of, singing and the art of voices. You wouldn't really have much of that. And if it's dark, you wouldn't have a lot of like paintings and things that you could see in that way. So maybe the arts and the types of expression are more tactile. They're more things you could touch. So like sculptures and maybe things embedded into the landscape. Maybe that's what their art and their culture is based on. Like very maybe large scale adaptations of their world. Every time I do one of these alien landscapes, I always think to myself, oh, I should bulk this out into a full storyline with real creatures and the actual pictures of the cities, what the cities would look like, and how they, the whole backline. And, I can't do that for every single one. I don't have time for it. I don't do this for a living. I do this for fun. And let me tell you, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it quite a bit. Me and my paints are good friends. We hang out a lot. And we go on little adventures like these alien landscapes. So I think what I might do here is bring down the sky a little bit. Maybe add a little bit of mist. A little bit of mistiness into it. Because it could use a little bit of like ambient brightness. We're gonna add a little bit. I wasn't really happy with the sky as it was. See, and we're gonna like take it down to like above the ice sculptures and things. And the cool thing about this cheap acrylic is that it is kind of transparent. It's not, it's not the greatest quality acrylic, and that's fine. That's not the point of these. We don't need the super expensive fancy paint to make a cool thing. No, we don't. That's the whole point of this series, is that you can do really cool stuff with the very cheap, basic craft supplies. You don't have to be fancy and expensive, I promise. But the cool thing about these cheap acrylics is that they're kind of transparent, and they're really easy to make like fog and wind sort of effects, because they're really easy to just add a little bit of water and lighten it up a little bit. And see, look how easy that was to just add that little bit of fogginess. So I think we're going to stop here, because I like where it is now that I've added a little bit of that haziness to it. I think this is where it's going to live. I had a good time with this one. If you like it, if you want to do something like this, please do. Go out and make some cool stuff, okay? Thank you for hanging out today. Keep your cup full. This was a fun one. Thank you. Bye.